Welcome to the Blades and Bloodlines podcast. I'm Aidan Biasi, a 7th generation barber, carrying on my family's legacy in our 3rd generation shop, a fixture in our community since 1978. This podcast is about more than cuts and trims. It's about connecting with people who have incredible stories, fascinating careers, and vital perspectives to share. Every episode encapsulates an authentic barbershop experience, a bastion of free speech, likes of which you've never seen, and flows into a meaningful conversation, one that might just change how you see the world. So pull up a chair, sharpen your mind, and join the conversation. And remember, soon you won't be able to say anything. So while you have the opportunity to say something, say something. Mr. Stephen Melani, it's been, I think, nearly a decade since I spoke to you last. I've been quite interested to see what you've been up to since then. For those of you that don't know, Stephen and I go back quite a ways. Back to the early days of elite events when you were still rocking house parties. I used to provide the muscle for Stephen and actually created my own security company under yours, which was highly illegal at the time. But then since then, I went on to do it legally in Manly for quite a while. I was an apprentice, and I got a fair bit to thank you for getting me into there, well, giving me a start anyway, because I think it was really under your original thing where I actually found a passion for doing that. And you were very entrepreneurial and quite inspiring. I've actually got a photo I want to put in during this of you and I together at one of those parties in your classic AC Milan shirt.
Wow.
But just to give everyone a little quick taste before we jump right into it, what exactly do you do? What are you involved in? And what are all the ventures you're in now? So I know there's a few of them.
Yeah, man. Well, look, Elite Events, it's coming on to, I think it's 11 and a half years since I started it. I was 16, mainly based across the Northern Beaches, North Shore, in Sydney now. Look, man, it started from, house parties, being like a DJ, DJ supplying, entertainment for all these house parties, school formals, all that type of stuff, to then bringing on photographers, security, like yourself. You're my first security guard.
Yep.
Like you said, legally, but illegally or whatever it is. But hey, we made it work.
We did.
Then, just built a massive team and kind of took over the beaches with supplying and being like the main number one like party supplier, DJ, everything. From that, turned 18 and moved into more like club takeovers. Got the idea of because we used to do all the school formals and stuff. Had this idea of, hey, how about, I'm getting booked for all these school formals. Why don't I put on my own school formal / social, I used to call it. And that birthed my under 18s brand.
That was the boat parties and stuff we did, didn't we? Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, man. I was like 17, 18, whatever it was. And I called it like an all school social. Yeah. So it kind of...
really bringing me back now, all these terms now. I'm remembering
all those little terms and, started all these boat parties and then created this thing where it's like it's a elite events under 18s boat festival. So it was like a festival on a boat. Yeah. Really, it was just like a big party.
It was just, St. Augustine, St. Paul's and Stella chicks all just on a boat.
Yeah, and it was like at the end of every year, I just put on this massive party for, everyone in the area, and it just became a thing.
And when we're that age, I don't think we really look too much into how much actually went into that, because we just rock up.
Seriously.
Or for example, I just rock up and start checking IDs because it looks professional or whatever. But you actually got actual guys to do the boats. Yeah. I remember like a proper company.
It's funny. It's like when you think about it, if I could looking at what I do now to what we used to do, it was like you just put up a Facebook event, put up a flyer,
and people just
start selling
some
tickets. People know, and then they come. Where now it's like a full on, you need like a couple weeks to plan all the marketing and stuff, and then you do a proper launch. You do site visits, you do dinners. Like so much more goes into it when you're older with that experience.
But you marketed it so well and showed this really awesome entrepreneurial kind of spirit right in the beginning from 17 years old. And even from my perspective, to jump on and say, fuck man, I think he's going to need muscle. Let me go and see if he needs that. But so when you were doing the boat parties in the very beginning, how much of your own money, was that all your own money and all your own savings?
All my own money. Like even for my first party, I remember my brother gave me like a subwoofer. Yeah. One of these little subwoofers with like 8 little speakers. And I rocked up to my first party, did it for free, for a bit of
course,
get experience. And then the subwoofer blew up at the party, so I had
Shit.
nothing. And then the party host, the parents, gave me $150.
Yeah.
That was my first little payday. And then from that, I saved up some money, and then bought my own speakers and everything. But look, from the beginning, it was just reinvesting everything I had. I wasn't even making money.
Breaking even. Just
seriously, I'll get the money, and I knew there was a light I wanted.
Yeah.
Went and bought it. Smoke machine, bought it. All these little fancy things that all these other people, they would hire a DJ and they just brought speakers and a little party light where...
Yeah, basic.
Yeah,
just the very basic
where,
stuff.
When it was elite events, I made sure it was, I was charging $100, $200 at the time.
Yeah.
To then bring like a massive soccer post. If people knew the OGs knew the normal setup, you would have like a soccer post set up, DJ underneath, 8 lasers, strobe light, the whole shebang. It was like bringing a nightclub.
I remember the early parties, and they were quite sophisticated for what they were in the beginning compared to other ones. I remember rocking up. I think you had a van or something, or the car, or whatever it was.
I had like a caddy. I had my non's caddy.
Yeah, and just bringing everything out, and man, that's really insane that you showed that much initiative from so early on.
Yeah, man.
But because I've been out of the frame for such a long time now, I'm really interested to know that how you made the jump from just doing parties to doing what you're doing now. Because you're now, it's a little bit of a cop out to say I'm just a DJ.
Yeah,
you're a lot more than that now.
Yeah,
you're a fucking businessman now.
Yeah, no.
Run us through that.
Bro, everyone, it was just like you go from everyone just thought I was a DJ. Yeah, they hear my name, DJ Steve, like Stephen Melani, DJ, that DJ guy. But in the back end, it was managing, especially at the beginning. I had to get when you're getting booked like non-stop. And when I say non-stop, it was like every Friday, Saturday. That's why I had to bring more DJs on. I had like a group of like 7 photographers. That's how I kind of built my team. And then from that, when I turned 18, then I started, I said, instead of doing all these house parties, I'm not going to do it my whole life,
Yeah, of course not.
I want to move into, working with these like bigger venues, stuff like that. I've worked with like Ivy, Ministry of Sound back in the day, like taking over their Ivy Pool.
Yep.
Greenwood Hotel did a massive takeover for like Greenwood Thursday.
Yep.
Just being a main, party and event company on the beaches, I was able to spread my wings and, offer a different service to these more corporate type of companies. Yeah. Or they would come to me and be like, hey, Steve, I want to turn my restaurant, for example, into a nightclub. How can we do it?
Yeah.
Leave it to me. I'll bring, 1,000 people.
Well, you showed that you had the right head for it because, you would have had to have appeared to have been very in control.
Yes.
That like I know that I'm going to get guys there on time. Because how many guys before you would have just fucked them around, not shown up, was missing stuff. But that wasn't the case for you then.
Yeah.
You were very switched on.
Yeah, man. It especially moving on from all the house parties and stuff. Now what I do, especially after COVID.
Yeah.
COVID, from working for yourself when you're 16 to 21, studying full time as well, up at ICMS, up at the castle there.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And then from there, COVID hit, and then it's like, where do you go from here?
Well, fuck, where did you go from there? Well, that would have been a good solid years of doing nothing.
It was a big, it was a big reality check. Because, you go from all these events every weekend, like big, bulky cash at the end of the day, what it grew into, to zero. You know what I mean?
Just nothing.
No support.
Yeah.
Nothing from the government because I was still at home. So I was on literally nothing.
So you wouldn't have got any of the Seeker Keeper payments because you're technically just working for yourself.
Correct.
Yeah, right.
I was a sole trader, and then you go from 6 DJs, 7 photographers, a security company to yourself. It's a big change.
I guess you're also relying on those guys too to get them
exactly.
work.
And like you said, which it's nice to hear, giving you that security chance to then pursue whatever passion you might have in it. To a lot of those DJs and photographers, they then went and did their own brands and stuff. Or I would pick up these guys where They've started their own little brand. They're doing parties, but hey, come work for me.
Yeah.
I've got the work. Everything I make through photos, keep all the money. I just want the photos to be on my page.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And by them posting those photos on my page, it just showed that elite events, because I used to have my little watermark.
Yeah. I remember it.
So everyone, it was like this thing where if you had a elite events photo, you had a little watermark on the bottom right, and it was like you went to a mad party.
100%.
But yeah, no, once COVID happened, it was kind of like a reality check, being like, I got to go work for someone else. So I went and I did the change to hospitality. I went and worked, I was the director of events in this place in Artarmon.
Yep.
It was called Acre, then it turned into the Glass House. So it was literally, I did like the sales to the planning to, the operations as well.
Did you do a business admin thing at ICMS too to make you a little bit more competent in that, or you're just naturally quite switched on?
I studied at ICMS for 3 years, did a Bachelor of Event Management.
Okay, right, there you go. So that's the background.
Do you know what? It was like, so, and do you know what? I was so not interested in school, wasn't going to study, but do you know what? Like my old man, I'll give it to my old man. He's like, Steve, just go study. Go do it while you're young. Just go get the piece of paper. At least you've done it.
Yeah.
But do you know what? Everything I taught myself through my own business, everything that I was learning at ICMS, it was literally just like copy paste.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, which was good. But then with ICMS, with event management, it's your planning. You learn the marketing of it, the hospitality side of it.
Yep.
I went from, like running these under 18 events or running clubs and stuff to learning how to, fold a napkin or how to serve a plate. And in my head, I'm going, what
a little bit above this shit.
No, I was like, it was more like, this is not what I want to do.
Yeah, 100%.
But I learned it.
Yeah.
And moving till now, I then grew from, it was like a restaurant event space in Artarmon there to then working for, now two of Sydney's biggest hospitality event companies. I went from, after Artarmon, I went to Navarra.
Yep.
Navarra Group has La Montage, Curzon
I was
Hall,
about to say,
type of stuff.
Yep.
So working with massive stylists, learning like food and all these supplies, just building my network.
Weddings here at those places. I've went to 2 weddings in the last 2 years at Curzon, my cousin Vicky's, and one at was it Le Montage as well? One of my friends.
Water, yeah.
Those weddings are not basic.
No,
they're elaborate.
Yeah, and do you know what? When you're working with, look, I work with all cultures.
Yeah.
Indian, Chinese, whatever, Italian, Lebanese, list goes on. Even the Australian ones, everyone's different.
Yeah.
Everyone's unique. You got to understand people's budgets, what they want to envision on their special day. And that taught me. And it wasn't just weddings. I was doing corporate dinners.
Okay.
I was doing
different approaches.
I had like a $1,000 corporate dinner where the Prime Minister was there.
That's it.
Yeah,
right.
I had Jordan Belford, the Wolf of Wall Street.
Yep.
We had a massive event there where you got security coming in, you got federal police coming in, making sure like it's intense. So from this little boy on the beaches doing little house parties to dealing with these big like high profile events, it's big stuff.
But then the approach in your own appearance, because you can't just be rocking like your black hoodie and black jeans like back in the day. You're presenting.
I'm in a suit. I'm in a suit. Make sure I get a haircut, do my beard every week. But yeah, working, you're at a high profile venue and company, you got to present yourself nicely, you know? And you got to know what you're talking about.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day, and going from Navarra, that taught me, like Artarmon was good. That was a stepping stone into hospitality and stuff. But Navarra taught me everything I know today.
Okay.
Built all the connections I have in the hospitality events industry, away from the nightclubs, to now being a senior event coordinator at Doltone House.
Right.
So that was just like, I did a year and a half there. Then now I'm at Doltone, and it's just like a whole nother ball game.
So Doltone now is like proper weekend work every week.
Yeah. So that's Monday to Friday.
It's full time, 9 to 5.
Yeah, Monday to Friday, full time. And then like my own business is now on the side.
Okay.
You
So
know,
what? So that is exactly like what exactly is the side business now?
Yeah, so Dalton Monday to Friday, like I said, and then Elite Events is now on the side where I've made little sub brands.
Yep.
So what's kind of popping off at the moment is a brand that I've created called Soho Manly.
Okay. Yes.
I did
Briefly looked into this.
Yeah, so Soho Manly is it's just like a nightclub concept that I organised last year. I've done 2 shows at the end of last year where we did over 500 people the first show.
Mm-hmm.
The second show we moved to Label in Brookvale.
Yeah.
We did 400 there, and then we decided to go back to the beaches. We're actually back in a month's time.
Mm-hmm.
Had a bit of a break because I got married.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. Congratulations.
Thank you. Got married and had a bit of a break, so I've been away. So I'm like, do you know what? Because I had no time to work on my own business. I'm like, as soon as I get married, back from the honeymoon, put my head down and get to work. You know
Absolutely.
what I mean? But yeah, no, we just launched a little teaser of Soho Manly.
Where is it exactly?
So the next one is at New Brighton Hotel.
Okay.
So remember the old Shark Bar?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is it's currently closed.
Right.
They were doing live bands in there. They had another promoter.
Okay.
And then now they're finished up, so the space isn't used. So I had a good meeting with them.
Did they go out looking, or did you approach them?
I approached them.
Right.
I was looking around in Manly. There's like the new like Espy down at in front of the pavilion.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
You know, there's Stain, Ivanhoe. There's all these venues, but I was like, do you know what? They're not doing anything upstairs. I'll take it. You know. So spoke to the venue. They want to do a monthly, then hopefully we turn into a weekly. So we do the first one. I announced like a save the date. Got over 500 shares.
Okay. Nice.
30,000 views in not even 24 hours.
Beautiful.
Then we launch on Monday, which is exciting, and then that will be like a monthly.
Do you find that, obviously, for me, the whole going out to Manly thing has been long over for me for a very long time, but even then, before I kind of went off and got married and had all my kids and stuff, Manly, I feel like was still suffering a little bit.
It was, man.
Yeah. Well, you
No, I was going to say, like, just back in the day when we used to go out, we used to go, like back in the day, we used to go from Ivanhoe to Shark Bar, to Ivanhoe, Shark Bar. I remember we used to walk up and down, to now there's no clubs. The clubs are empty. Like, they're struggling.
I've heard that Ivanhoe is like wanting to charge people to go up and down the stairs and everything, whereas before you just go up.
Exactly. And now, like, the new thing is, even like Wharf Bar, they're finished. They got felons in there, and it's more like people just want to.
It's a bit fancy now.
Yeah, just want to go have a seat, you know, drinks, have a chat, and then everyone ends up at the Stain.
Okay, with all the Brazilians.
Yeah, we're
pretty much.
literally.
Exactly.
So that's why I was like, do you know what? Manly is missing something.
Yeah.
You know, I've been out of the, you know, all the house party game for a long time, you know, and then especially COVID and getting married and working full time. I was like, do you know what? I'm going to see what's happening in Manly and let's see what I can come up with. So for the last 6 months, I was going with the boys, just down the Manly, walking up and down, just checking.
Sussing it,
literally just sussing it out. And I was like, do you know what? Why don't we bring that nightclub life in the city to Manly? No one's really done it before.
Not really, no.
You know what I mean? Like, bring all that CO2, the strobe lights, like the over the top, what Elite Events is known for. Why don't we like create this event or brand where we go into a space and we just deck it out, and then everyone will just know, like, it's just going to be a massive party.
Yeah, they know what they're going to get.
They know what they're going to get.
Right.
Like I had experience doing that. Like we turned, remember the old Daniel son?
Yeah.
At the Manly Pavilion there?
Yeah.
Not Manly Pavilion.
The
hotel.
Novotel.
Novotel, yeah. So I remember it's a restaurant, closes on a Friday, 10 o'clock. It's a Chinese restaurant.
They got Dojo upstairs?
Yeah, then they got Dojo upstairs.
Yeah.
They said, Steve, here's the space, finishes at 10 o'clock usually, we close, but you can run your nightclub in there.
Okay.
I said, okay. So I did like a little pop-up, Elite Events Takeover. I remember I took a photo, 666 people that night. We turned a restaurant into a full-on club. They had to open up a second bar because they couldn't keep up. We put strobe lights in the roof of this restaurant. It was full on. I did that, and I was like, do you know what? Like, there's something to do in Manly.
How long ago was this particular takeover?
That one,
just
that
to
one
keep it linear.
Yeah, no, that one was about like five years ago.
Oh, so we're already talking about 5 years ago.
So that's when with Elite, I was doing little pop-ups here and there. But then I did another one like a couple of years later. It's probably like 2 years ago now, 3 years. And then did one at Ivanhoe on the top level. They said, Steve, capacity is 400 people. You can sell tickets. No one's really done it before. You try to do it.
Okay.
Sold 400 tickets. Sold it out.
Nice. Yeah.
That's why we've come back to this. Hey, I need to create something. And I was working off. There was no Instagram page, just a Facebook page.
No, it was still
word of mouth.
Just word of mouth. And after COVID, I guess people were hungry.
Oh yeah.
They needed. That was a whole good 3 years of no one really socializing like that.
No one socializing. Nothing to do.
Absolutely.
And it was that like. And do you know what? It's expensive as well. People don't want to travel to the city. They want something.
No, not from here anyway.
Yeah, not from here. And they want something local where I'm like, all right, Soho Manly, we can bring that here, do a club takeover, and then just give the people what they want. Give the community something to look forward to now every month.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that. On top of that, I've just opened it, just opened an Instagram page for it. Mm-hmm. It's called Zuma Double Bay.
Yep.
So me and my two mates that I've been friends with for the last 10 years, literally, they were DJs as well.
Okay.
They were starting out, and then I gave them opportunities as well back in the day at my under 18s and all the club stuff we do. And I'm like, do you know what? We've known each other for so long. Why don't we do something?
Put years together.
They did their events. I did my events. I'm like, let's just collab.
Well, you were the same kind of thing anyway.
Yeah.
Were you like? It's not like one's doing house, one's doing art style, one's doing whatever.
It's like everyone's touching the same genre. It's all like commercial dance music. You know what I mean? It's relatable for everyone.
It's gonna work regardless.
Seriously. Okay. And do you know what? It's like you've got someone from the beaches, you've got someone from Western Suburbs, you've got someone from North Shore. Once you put all that data together, you can create something. So now we've just announced it. So May 3rd is Soho, and then we launch Zuma on the 10th of May. Mm-hmm. So that will be a weekly in Double Bay. So we're taking over a venue.
Okay.
So
can't say which.
It's called Gitano Sydney. It used to be called Bedouin.
Okay.
In Double Bay, it's going to be like very classy. Afro house. None of this. None of this like doof stuff.
Yeah, a little bit more classy. Okay.
More classy. Where Soho is at, it's at 18 to 25.
More high energy.
More high energy.
Oh, because that's what out here they want high energy. Out there, I imagine you still want to be able to, I guess, court someone, have a conversation. Whereas up there, when it's like that, you just fuck talking to anyone. Seriously. Man. Just get into it.
At least people like with this new venue, people can go have dinner. Mm-hmm. Even girls, just in general, even boys. Yeah. Mostly girls. They'll go. They want to before they go out. They'll go have dinner somewhere, and then they'll go out. Right. Where this venue offers both.
Okay.
They can have some dinner, and then they can come to the club, which is a cool concept. So
it is a cool concept.
Yeah.
It's kind of like how Wharfie was when I was there. Kind of. Seriously. It's classed up a lot now, but it's a shadow of what it used to be. When I was there, it was still rough, man. Like we were still a capacity of, say, for example, 1,000. I remember one public holiday there was about 3. And it was to the point where there was so little security that we were playing zombie invasion. These kids trying to crawl in through the deck, and we're just like, fuck off, like get out of here. But there was like no control. But it really annoyed me there because they wanted to play this really boring elevator music kind of stuff, and then because they didn't want young people to come in. But the thing is, the older people are a bit more tight. The young people are spending money, not the older people, because they don't care. Have you, I guess, has that influenced you at all? Definitely the age demographic of what to play. Like it's all very nuanced, You can't just go and play anything.
Look, anyone can put on an event. Yeah. But it's the way you run it.
Yeah. Okay.
For example, I know. Look, Manly.
Yeah.
Manly's known for that commercial. Like I call it white girl music. You need to keep the girls on the dance floor. Yeah. All that commercial stuff. Your top 40, all those mashups, like an Ivy Thursday type of vibe. You know. That's what Manly is. Where now looking at the music trend, it's like you see Sydney is very techno.
Okay.
House. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, all right, why don't we mix it all together? It's like going to Ivy on like a Saturday, right?
Okay.
You arrive, the music's kind of, it's chill, bit of background music, And then leading up into the night gets a bit heavier. And then at 1 o'clock in the morning, that's when all the bangers are on, your headliners on, and all the CO2 and all the crazy stuff is happening. It's just like a house party. Bit of background music. All your guests arrive, then you get a bit heavier. And then, you know, in the middle of the night, that's when the peak is. So it all kind of circles together.
Yeah, see, I'm captivated because I've been out of it for so long, but also it just seems like you've got it down to a real science. I've never thought about it in that capacity before. And it's just very interesting to talk to someone from the other side that's like, no, we have a formula that we have to stick to. Yeah. But you have also, during COVID, did you dabble with original music that you made yourself?
Yeah, man. So with the whole, you know, elite events business, everyone knew me for, you know, Steve Melani. During COVID, released a couple songs, added some more time, obviously, because I couldn't work or do anything. So, for example, got a track with like 3 million streams. Got a couple, like most of them are on those like 300K, 200K, 500K, another one. Decent streams. And they're all signed to labels overseas. And then one in Melbourne, Will Sparks label.
Yeah, Will Sparks, okay. Yeah.
Which is cool. Heaps of the songs have been supported by big DJs, which is great. You know, it comes back off the whole networking, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I was going to lead into next, to the whole networking aspect of it all. Big like there's no ego or signing on to Will Sparks' thing is selling out, stay independent. There's none of that. It's literally just keep climbing and climbing and climbing.
Seriously, man. It's like, it all starts from all the house parties, you know? People need to know you. If you want to, the whole DJ industry game it's all about networking. It's all about having, you know, a good reputation. It's about who you know at the end of the day. Once again, networking.
Of course.
You know, I turned 18.
Yep.
And off the back of that, the day I turned 18, it was a Friday. My first DJ gig in a club was that Friday.
It was on a Friday.
I just turned 18. I was like, it was great. And, you know, everyone came out to support as well. Because, you know, you're 17, 16 doing all these 21st and all these older people's parties. Yeah. And they're like, are you 18 yet? I'm like, no, bro, I'm like 16, 17. Like, you know.
It's already showing that initiative.
Yeah.
It's impressive to older people.
It is. And that's where these clubs they see that.
Yeah.
You know, they see, all right, there's this young kid, people know him. He's in the music scene. He's coming up. He just turned 18. Let's get him on board. Even remember Good Life Festival?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, we all went together.
Yeah, we all did.
we all went together. I remember that very vividly.
Good days. Yeah, party bus out to where is it? The Renwick there. Good times. But yeah, Good Life. You know, that prepared me for the world I was going into. You know, Good Life was, hey, sell us tickets. If you sell the most tickets, you get a shot on the main stage.
Okay.
So I said, oh, that's bloody easy.
So you ended up playing Good Life?
I ended up doing that.
Wow.
So that's how it kind of all started as well. So I was like, all right, everyone knows me from all these house parties.
I wouldn't have taken nothing to sell tickets if everyone already had the network.
Seriously, it's like everyone knows me from these house parties. There was a guy on the beaches already playing at Good Life, and I had a chat with him. I said, hey, do you reckon, like, I'm doing all these house parties, do you reckon people buy tickets off me? He's like, oh, you know, trying to like psych me out in a way, because he was already doing it. But it was like, oh, you know, it's hard, you know, it took me all these years, and, you know, it took me 3-4 years just to, you know, get on the main stage and stuff. I'm like, do you know what, like, how easy is it just to sell some tickets?
Like, I'm sure you showed him.
In my first event, I sold, you know, I was like 150 tickets for Good Life.
Yeah.
That's 150 tickets is a lot back then, you know, and trying to make people underage as well.
Yeah, to
spend like nearly $100, $80 on a ticket.
Absolutely, we'll convince their parents to do it. Seriously. To go out and do stuff that they, you know, what they do at parties.
So then, you know, leading on, I did well, and I ended up becoming like the New South Wales main, you know, like under 18 DJ. Okay. And at all these big festival shows, I started, you know, DJing at all of them, and then that's when, you know, people started to see that. Yeah. Especially those club owners and promoters running these events. That's why it was perfect. So when I turned 18, it helped. Okay. It was like kind of like a stepping stone.
I'm pretty interested in this one guy who you said tried to psych you a bit. It's very interesting that when you get to these places and you're ascending, you're going to get those guys that are going to try and mislead you and kind of send you astray. So how many of those people in the time you've been, the decade you've been doing this now, did you have to almost play politics to try and say, all right, I know what this guy's about. He's going to try and lead me astray. I have to either trust instinctively that I know what to do and not take his advice because, as you said, you fucking did what he took him 4 years to do with ease because of through determination and hard work, and everyone knew you.
Yeah.
And albeit this is a great area because, let's be honest, it's very small. You know, you become a household name here. It's very quickly, it spreads. So you're dealing with people that might be quite unsavory. Did you kind of find you got a little bit better at reading people then? You're very savvy with who you work with?
Yeah, man. It's like, it's very dog eat dog.
Yeah, okay.
The industry, you know, when you got someone new making some noise, especially very young, very young age, you know, getting regular club shows, you go, because like when you start from the back room, 3 a.m. in the morning, you think no one's going to be there.
That's a slog.
Then once you network, you get in, you're there at 1 o'clock in the morning, then you become a headliner, stuff like that. And the older boys and girls, they see that and they see competition because you're taking over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're taking their time slot that they would have been grinding to get at, and they see a new guy come in, so they try stuff you up.
100%.
You know? I remember, for example, the first one, the Good Life one, psyched me out. Steve, you can't do it. You know, it's hard work. Ended up doing it. I remember I had my first, you know, I got a call. It was like 9 o'clock at night. This is like 18, you know. I told my old man, this is my first club show at Candy's apartment. If you remember that, it's in King's Cross.
I was not very well versed with King's Cross because you got to think at this time I was already doing security in Manly, so I wasn't going out at all. I was working, right. But anyway. Yeah,
no. So I got a call. Steve, are you available? Of course I'm available. 9 o'clock at night. I've got a set right before the headliner.
Okay.
Right. This is like a 12 o'clock to 1, and the headliner's on from 1 to 2, and the headliner was coming from Melbourne. I said, I'm coming straight away. No worries. I remember I got there, and then you know, the club was pumping, it was good, and then there was a couple of the resident boys there. And you know, they know who you are, but you haven't really spoken, and you know, everyone's all nice to your
Resident
face.
season, it's their full-time gig.
It's like they're regular playing.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I remember I put my USB in, playing, you know, I was playing just like what I knew what was meant to be playing before a headliner, because you don't want to burn them out.
No, of course not.
Because, you know, it's kind of setting the mood to then growing into like the, you know, the main part of the night. And I remember there was a couple of boys like, you know, Gene me up. Yeah, Steve, like you're doing good. Hey, play a bit harder, you know, like you can play a bit harder. And in my head, I'm going, oh, look, I'm listening to these boys, because growing up, and especially trying to get into the club that I'm trying to, you know, make a statement at, you want to listen to them. You know, you take advice, you look up to them, especially when you're a bit younger. So what I do, I listen to them, play a bit harder, and then the guy running the night, you know, I'm getting messages on my phone. I see all these things. Who the hell's playing right now? This is like, you shouldn't be playing this heavy. You're burning it out. I'm going to rip you off. It's in the group chat. I look over and the boys are having a laugh.
Okay.
Because they can see. And in my head, obviously I changed it straight away, but going back to, you know, you're making a statement, like you're growing and you're getting places, and then people will try, you know, bring you down.
Oh, so that was the guys that were supposed to be mentoring you.
Yeah, these are boys where, you know, you see them, you look up to them because they're playing like that main slot, and then they dog you like that to, you know, make you stuff up, because you stuff up.
Yeah, they're not going to have you back, and word spreads.
You're not going to have, they won't have you back.
Wow. Okay.
Because you're dealing with paying customers, you know, and if you overburn them, and then they're not even staying for the headliner. The club owners paid all this money for the, you know,
of course,
the main headliner,
absolutely,
and no one's there. So people leave, or, you know, it all gets factored in.
So what's the retaliation then if you know that they're trying to do that? Then are you just like, all right, I've just got to show them with just to be consistent and do the right thing, or is there a little bit of, hey man, I know what you're doing, back up?
It was, you know, it was a conversation with the club owner, like, after the night, obviously, because I knew what happened.
You don't want to be seen complaining.
No, you don't want to be like that. Like
fucking
the softy,
whinger.
You know.
Yeah, of course,
like,
absolutely.
You don't want to be a softy, but it was more of the approach of, hey, I was playing what was meant to be played. These boys said, hey, you know, play a bit harder. So, you know, these boys are playing every week.
Yeah.
Every week in front of a massive crowd. you're going to listen to them.
Of course.
If you're a newbie as well,
Absolutely.
you're trying to do the right thing, and then, anyway, it was a conversation with the owner, and he understood. But going back, it's like you're like, who do you trust?
Of
You know
course.
what I mean?
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
And then like even on that night, I remember I finished my set.
Yep.
I go to take, because there's 2 decks, usually 2 decks, but at this club there was 4.
Mm-hmm.
My USB was in the far right one,
Yep.
and I had another one on the left. My far right one was missing. So one of the boys that came up to me after the set that were on the side said, "Steve, yeah, good job, whatever." One of the other boys picked out my USB. And on that USB was, unreleased songs, mashups, edits, something that you work hard on
Yep.
to gain, where a lot of people don't have certain songs. And especially being a newbie, once you take like a special USB, yes, it's all on my computer, but like they got access to
Of course.
special, edits and remixes that no one else really has.
Yep.
So it was just kind of like a sabotage in a way.
But are they then taking it there and listening to see what you got, or they just know that it'll fuck you up?
Yeah, no, it'll fuck me up.
Okay.
But then, yeah, like it's just, once again, dog eat dog.
But you improvise that situation then,
Yeah, it's like, what are you meant to
as,
do?
as you
Like,
always do. Of course,
yeah,
show's got to
like
go
you just
on,
look,
right?
no, it's just where's my USB, and you be the better man. It's like, you can't accuse someone.
No, of
from
course not. Absolutely
taking,
not.
So
Yeah.
it's just like, it is what it is. You lost it, you take it on the chin and, on to the next. But yeah, I've had so many times. Even, I remember, like, I was doing so many shows. This guy came up to me and goes, "Steve, why don't we offer," I called it my Bible,
Yep.
right? This Bible had it was like an Excel, had every promoter. A promoter is like a club owner,
Yeah,
a
yeah.
booking agent.
Yep.
Had all their names, all the contacts, each state.
Your black book.
Yeah, it was my black book. And when I was organizing like a tour, my Australia tour, I contacted all these people, right? But this guy, who was one of the boys at the club, goes, "Hey, why don't we do something different? I know you want to headline all these places around Australia. Why don't we offer like a double headliner?"
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, "All right, well, look, you can be a bit cheaper. Offer the club 2 headliners with, a bit of a name. You get the best. You think you're helping them." Anyway, emailing all these clubs, "Hey, double headliner, we want to do this at your venue." I gave access to that Bible to this guy. That he told me the clubs not to contact, because he already contacted them, and then I did the same. I contacted one of the clubs that he forgot to tell me he contacted, and then they told me, "Hey, this guy has said it's just for himself. So is it a headliner, like double headliner, or is it for him?" And I'm like, "Wait a minute. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
It's meant to be like a tour thing."
Of
So
course.
this guy took all my contacts and then messaged all these clubs for his own tour.
That's
He
it.
wasn't even thinking about me. So he took it all, and then he deleted. Once I called him out, he deleted my whole book.
See, this
my whole
is
black book.
very conniving behavior.
It's
like
like-
almost to the point where it's almost quite absurd and hard to believe
Yeah,
that
man.
someone would be that
Seriously,
that kind of person.
it's like, once again, dog eat dog.
Dog eat
It's-
dog.
It's sad, and you know what? Even me touring, and I've been around Australia. I've DJed in India. I did like 2 weeks in India playing around. I've done Europe, done it all. Younger boys growing up in the industry, I'll take them under my wing.
Yeah.
Even guys like when I played at Good Life, inspiring under 18 DJs that obviously want to DJ when they're older would come up to me, "Steve, can I get a photo? You're my inspo." Yeah, man, like, time of day for them. And when they turned 18, I ended up taking them, to Tasmania with me, to Melbourne. I gave them a shot where these older boys, they couldn't give a shit. It was like, you see someone coming up, no one's helping.
Is that pretty typical of guys the generation before you? Or is it more just speaks to you as a person that
I don't know.
you're getting fucked over that many times? You're like, all right, if I did this the other way, then it comes back to me.
Yeah.
It's
like, I would never, like, these things would happen.
Yeah.
You just don't, you don't react.
Yeah.
Obviously you want to say something,
But
but it's
yeah.
like, if you react, that's what they want.
It's that unspoken rule, isn't it? You
Yeah.
just like, even when you're playing footy, when they bug you, you're not supposed to bark back at them. You're supposed to prove yourself with what it is that you're doing.
Seriously.
It sounds like that's what you've done,
That's what it
essentially.
is, bro. It's like, you just gotta, stay true to yourself, and, do the right thing, especially growing up as like, you know, from my parents, you know, don't be an idiot. You
Well,
know,
what was there? You know, at such a young age, you're traveling here, you're traveling there, you're out really late at night. So what's your mum thinking? What's your dad thinking?
Bro,
Are they worrying or?
I remember when I turned 18,
Yeah.
right? I was playing in King's Cross.
Mm-hmm.
The first time I said I was playing in King's Cross, my dad was in his bed, I remember, in his undies, lying down.
No, you're not.
Shoots up. He goes, come with me. I go, oh, fuck. All right. Is he going to, maybe he's going to, you know, give me $50 or something. Who knows? Like, you know, go eat dinner on your way there. Sat down, searched up King's Cross, got a whole documentary up. He goes, do you know where you're going? He goes, I want you home by 11:30. I go, 11:30? My set's at 1 o'clock. What do you mean? No, you're not going. I go, Dad, like this is what it is.
Yeah.
No, you're not going. 11 o'clock, 11:30, you're home. I don't care. Anyway, my mum gets up, ends, let him go. This is what it is. I go, Dad, I'll message you when I'm there. I'll message you when I'm home. I'll make sure I come in your room, say I'm here. This is what it is.
Okay.
Especially coming from that WOG background.
Yeah, of course.
Hey, before the sun went down, I used to run home when I was younger.
Yep.
And then when you're in that mentality growing up to, hey, I got to be out at 1 o'clock in the morning. I won't get home till 3 o'clock. That was my life.
It's such an old mentality when they realize that there's so many different avenues of making money, and I guess for a lot of old wogs, this wouldn't exactly seem like a traditional source of income.
Seriously.
What do you play music for a bunch of people
man.
that are fucked up? What's that?
Bro,
But
it was from, like I said, from 16 to high school. My parents, year 12, Steve. Once you do your HSC, it's finished. It's all finished. As soon as you start studying and stuff, your DJ stuff can go to the side, no more.
So how supportive are they of it now? Obviously, well, now you're not just a DJ, you're a businessman. So it's a different approach.
It's you know, it took a while for them to understand.
Yeah.
Especially, you know what, my old man, my mum couldn't care less. Obviously she cared, but it was like, come on, let him do what he wants to do.
Of course.
My old man was once again in his old school ways. It took him a bit, but then, you know, once he saw it pick up a lot, you know, and I had a team under me, I was doing these club takeovers. I was getting booked to go to Melbourne, Gold Coast, you know, I did schoolies, Tasmania, like everywhere, India, everywhere. He wanted to come. I remember I did my India tour. My mum's like, I've always wanted to go to India. I go, Mum.
Well, they came with you?
My mum came with me.
Nice.
Paid for all the accommodation, everything. She came for 2 weeks. I had an agency over there. And they just toured us around. Transfers, everything. Done.
And what was that's interesting to know a bit of what India was like. Obviously, from externally, bro, it looks like a shithole. And it probably is. You can say that it is.
Look, compared to Australia, very different.
Some would say
You know
it's a
what I mean?
failed state compared to where you go. But so what's it like in comparison to your guests? Australian crowd, European crowd, Indian crowd. Are Indians a little bit more on it than what we give them credit
Indians go in the music scene. It's like they love it, right?
Okay.
They have massive campus festivals, I'd call it. Like
Okay.
at a uni, they'll do a massive concert there, and they'll get EDM guests from overseas, DJs, and they would put on a massive party.
Big deal to have a white guy there playing music for him?
It was. When me and my mum were there, I know it's like I brought my mum everywhere. It's good.
Oh, fuck yeah, you look after him.
No, she came for a holiday.
Yeah.
It was mad. It was, do you know what, to be able to do that, it's pretty cool. So, no, like, I'm in India, and for 2 weeks, I did not see, like, another white white person there. And these people would come take photos of you, you know, especially, like, I've got photos of it on my Instagram. There's, like, a photo of me outside a hotel.
Yep.
And it has my face on it. You know, mad. Like Stevie Melani has my photo looking to the side, and people come up, take photos of you. Like I was at a food court, and people like passing their babies to me, taking photos.
What the hell?
You know, it was full on. And
they get starstruck hard in India.
Yeah, it was like, and do I, like it was another thing, because they probably haven't seen a white guy before, who knows, but like
Absolutely.
It was literally for 2 weeks. So it was cool. It was a cool experience.
Yeah.
They live a different world over there.
Yeah, I can
imagine. Especially where I was. So I did 6 different cities while I was there. They looked after accommodation. I was staying like 5-star, stuff like that, transfers. But then like you'd be in a hotel and it's all fancy and stuff, but you step out onto the road and, you know, there's people. I remember like I got this, you know, this memory of driving past this road, and there's a guy on the side of the road with a bucket, and obviously like there's water on the side of the road there, and he's scooping it and just having a shower with it, you know.
Wow.
And it kind of gives you a bit of a reality check where it's like,
Absolutely.
you're in another city, you're getting paid to like perform, staying at a nice hotel, then these people, you know, on the side of the road,
Did you ever feel bad at all?
Yeah, like I said, till today, I still remember. It was like in his undies. It was like a cloth. It was, you know, it's
You feel grateful, and you go more gratitude. You come home and think, man, I'm never going to complain about a pothole again.
Seriously,
you know what I mean? Or it took my shower 5 minutes to warm up.
Seriously.
It puts that into perspective.
Oh, yeah,
but the overseas touring thing. Do you remember when I saw you in Falerna, in Italy, at the beach?
Really.
You were staying at the Crido Hotel. And I remember I was there with my cousins, and I'm like, Stephen, what the fuck? We're I guess because your país is what Chitseria as well.
Yeah.
And we were there in Falerna, and I ran into you there. But I'm like, should we catch up later? And you said, I'm going to play a show. What was that show? Because I've been wondering for 10 years what that show was.
So as you know, I'm Italian. We're Italian. We're from the same, you know, area. And, you know, I have all the cousins and everyone on Instagram, Facebook.
Yeah.
So they've been following me for all these years, seeing what I'm doing on this side of the world. And then when they heard I was coming, they said, shit, like, let's try organize something. Yeah. So there's one of southern Italy's biggest beach clubs there called Hangloose Beach.
Yes, I've been there many times.
And it's a vibe.
It's really
Australia
cool. Australia
needs something like it.
Fucking
crazy.
Awesome. Yeah.
And my cousin was friends with like a party promoter there, and they told him I was coming, and they knew me because it's a small town, but you know, word travels. Of course. You know, and they knew I was coming, so they're like, hey, let's get him a show here. I remember we locked it in, you know, €600 for this show. Paid for an hour, you know, VIP booth, all this stuff, and then I literally saw half the town from the mountain come down, and everyone was there. It's on my Instagram.
Because from the beach you can see the Jitseria nestled in the mountains. It's really cool.
If you look at the photo in the background, you can actually see the town up in the mountains.
So cool,
it's
man.
Mad.
Wow.
Even when I was there, they had a festa up in the piazza in Jitseria there, and they organised like for me to be like a special guest DJ there, and I was like, all right, no problem. You know, played at this little bar, and then it went on to like the road. They shut down the road for it, and then in the town there's near the main. Do you know where there's the soccer court?
Yeah, the little the futsal court. Yeah.
A bit more down, there's a car park across the road, and then down from that, it's kind of like imagine like half the Colosseum, like a little amphitheater.
Yeah,
like
thing.
It was like that.
I'm trying to remember it. I remember the futsal court.
Yeah, it's a bit more down. And at night, everyone in the town heard I was playing. They all came down, and I remember they're like, well, "Whatever you want, we'll set up a stage. We'll do something for you while you're here."
Yep.
I said, no problem. I'll do it for free. I'll do it for, you know, because
of course,
grandparents from there. You know, I'll put it on.
Absolutely.
And first of all, it was cool that everyone knew who I was. You know, half of them were coming up to me. Oh, I'm your cousin. I don't know who you are, but okay, nice to meet you. But yeah, I remember set up a stage. You know, everyone's there, and you know, everyone's come to support. And I remember, like, imagine going to like a normal club or festival. Do you know when like the confetti blows off?
Yep.
I remember they had a pipe, like a water. How can I explain it?
Well, like a mobile one that you walked around.
It was literally like do you know those like white pipes for when the rainwater comes down? Yeah. They had one of those, attached it to a leaf blower, put confetti, stuffed it with confetti, literally, and they turned this leaf blower on, and all this confetti went.
Wow,
it was a good laugh. It's on my dad's phone. I should get it.
But what a vibe that place
is. It's a little town to, you know, put something together so quickly, and it's cool.
It's so funny that you said you went to play Hang Loose Beach. I remember specifically having a conversation with the guy at the front door about how I could come in summer and work there, and my cousin trying to communicate to him what I wanted, because at that point I was still an apprentice barber, and security was a little bit more, let's just say, thrilling than cutting hair. And I remember having the conversation with him about that as well, because it looked like a sick place to work. But anyway, as soon as you leave and come back here, you realise that Europe really only is a summer place.
Seriously.
You got nothing to do in winter. But that's amazing. You played so Italy, India.
Italy, India, around Australia. I did Fiji for 5 days. They flew me over there for spring break. I did Ireland. I did London. Yeah.
Is Greece on the bucket list?
Greece was on the list, but then COVID hit.
Okay.
But haven't
But
hit Greece.
Greece would be like a pretty good height to hit.
I have a couple boys that I know
Yep.
that are in venues there, and they've said, see, when you come, there's a show there waiting for you. But yeah, I haven't been able to get over there.
So what's your favorite, like, do you still, because you work at Doltone House now, so do you still love, so are you actually on the tools at the wedding, or are you just organising?
Yeah, so it goes from, so our Doltone House, a couple or, corporate, whatever it is, I mostly concentrate on couples.
Okay.
Getting married. I'd just rather that. It's more emotion to it, and just more, it's nice.
It's someone's day. It's memorable.
Yeah, seriously, and the couple will sign a contract. Their contract will come across my desk, and I do all the planning.
Okay.
From literally your food to what coloured napkin you want to organising your supplies to everything.
Transcended music.
Dietary.
This is as you said, your hospo background.
Yeah. So I've done every part of the event industry you can think of.
Yeah.
The sales operations to the nightclub to the hospitality. From this party boy to helping a bride get ready for a big day.
Absolutely.
So it's a massive transition, but I love it.
You love it?
It's a big change, but the best thing is that I can still do my 9 to 5 now, but run my own business on the side after hours.
And that's your let loose,
which is
Soho and stuff. Is like your baby, right?
Literally,
how this is my baby. This is got my main job, obviously in the shop. 9 to 5 can be a slog, but you know that every few weeks on the weekend you get to put your energy into something that that's just for you.
Seriously, yeah.
It's your thing. Obviously, it's still working for my dad. One day it'll be mine, but this is purely mine.
Yeah.
And it's exactly the way I want it to be.
That's good, man.
It's extremely interesting to hear all that. But what kind of lasting legacy then do you want to leave, or what do you think will be the zenith of what you want to achieve, going from grassroots to backyards to running wedding venues?
Look, truthfully, one day would love to open up my own, venue.
Yep.
Either that being, a nightclub. Nightclub's still in my blood, and I'd love to, do my own club, or like a space in wherever it is in Sydney where people can come to and have their functions. Instead of having it at home, come to me. I'll look after you. Everything I've learned can be put straight into my own business, and I know I can do it. It's just the timing, that's all. But yeah, that's what I want to do.
Do you remember, just quickly before we conclude, I've got a few more things I wanted to ask you, just general interest as well. What was the criticism like from the area when you were first starting Elite Events? Because I kind of remember, in a little bit of a sense, you being the butt of every joke. No one particularly taking you seriously.
Yeah.
How did that, I suppose, looking back in hindsight now, sometimes the WOG community out here can be a bit unforgiving and a little bit kind of wanting to drag you down. But obviously the biggest way to get back at that is to fucking you watch me. How did that just fuel you? Because it obviously didn't drag you down.
Yeah, look, I think it's just like I feel like it's like an Australia thing.
Yeah.
It's like, someone starts something new.
Of course.
Someone wants to follow their passion, and you're always going to get bagged out.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just like, one person will do it, then someone else will tag on. I used to be at school and I used to copy, DJ Melani, you DJing this weekend.
I remember hearing that, and
I used to copy it. And, especially, from 2 older brothers as well.
Do they bust your balls a bit too?
Just like, take a joke and their mates, and then, just your mates as well. Just, you're DJing this weekend, you think you're some pop star, but like, no, it's nothing like that. Just make your money. Until you actually start making some big moves, then they want to be with you. They want to be at that VIP table.
Yeah.
They want to be next to you, It's a big shift.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
You go from, the worst thing is you start something and you want everyone's backing, but they won't back it. They'll only back it once you start, shouting loud and say, hey, look at me, look what I've achieved, which is a sad thing.
Yeah.
But It is what it
It
is.
is what it is, and it's
It is
all
what it is.
hindsight now. It's something I guess
man.
when you're mentoring these younger guys, you can tell them not to. But then again, 11 years has passed, and it's not the same world now. Even just in 11 short years, Instagram wasn't a big thing then. It was more Facebook. Now Facebook's not even really relevant now.
I don't even go on it.
Who the
It's
fuck would
mostly-
advertise on Facebook?
Seriously, it's
Yeah.
Instagram, it's TikTok, I feel like back in the day, because it was so new, social media as well. Like
Yeah.
not new, but it
was
wasn't.
growing.
It was growing, and people didn't want to jump in front of the camera.
Yeah.
Where what I had to do in my industry and to be this public figure, it was, hey, look at my life. I'm DJing. This is what I do. People had an interest of it. And, to stay relevant in the game, you need shows. You need a post, and to be in front of the camera, I knew people were going to, talk shit. But, hey, this is what I got to do to make money.
Yeah.
This is how I needed what I need to do to progress. I got to do what I got to do.
I understand that gramming
what I mean?
and stuff, Instagramming and the socials can be a burden. I don't like being on my phone personally, but when I'm there editing a reel or trying to find a description, I'm just like, man, I just get a headache looking at my phone all the time. But to grow in this space, it needs to be done.
Right. My whole branding, my whole image is Instagram, social media.
Well, that's just the way it is now. That's
is.
the industry.
It
That's
is.
how it is.
You're getting all these businesses becoming viral overnight just from just a video, and it changes their life.
Yeah.
But it is the world.
I hated doing it for hair cutting. I did it a lot when I first started, but then look back now and think, fuck, that was so cringe to be posting my haircuts, even though it is a good way to promote yourself.
That's what it is.
But I thought to myself, I want to promote it in another way because I've got some pretty alternate thoughts on the barbering industry. I don't really like what it is now. It's very showy, which is why I've kind of let the business remain old school without changing it too much. I like the old appeal because it kind of keeps you inconspicuous and you get to attract everyone. One thing that really annoys me, well, it doesn't annoy me, but your whole business can be only skin fades. But that just wears you down. But if I can do a skin fade, an old dude, a younger guy, a crew cut, I'm happy.
Yeah.
It's diverse. It's a diverse field. But I guess, well, in closing, I suppose I had this one particular memory of you, Stephen, where we're at a party. I can't remember exactly where it was, but I think you had recently gotten a bit of stick or someone was fucking trying to bust your balls or poke fun of at what you were doing. And you showed me this meme or this photo of the top photo was a guy just rocking a small backyard party with the writing on top that says, if you can't support me when I'm here.
I know exactly.
And at the bottom was a guy rocking a club saying, then don't come to me when I'm here. And when I asked you to come on and you said, yeah, I'd love to, thanks for having me, I instantly thought of that memory because I've got actually quite a freakishly good memory. I remember a lot of stuff. And I think that it's just very, very inspiring in a way that you seemed then that you were so determined to make that a reality for you, and you did.
Yeah.
And it's just, mate, really makes me happy to see guys doing well, especially that weren't given a chance, but fuck, you nailed it. And it's inspiring to me.
Thanks, man.
That's all right. Now, before I start crying,
No, it's
we'll round it off.
no, man. Pleasure.
Yeah, beautiful.
Pleasure.
I appreciate it, Stephen. Good on you.
Yeah.
All right.
Paid, sir.
Cut it.